or the judicial branch.
Congress is a rich man's club. That's the problem. That's what we're trying to fix. I would suspect that I probably have the fewest assets of anybody sitting on this dais. I am not a rich man, unlike those to my left. So, I mean, listen, the American people look at people like the former Speaker of the House, who makes better returns than anybody in America. They look at senators who were investigated during the COVID pandemic for their miraculous stock trades, and they say, how is this possible? To think that this might become a problem in the future is frankly fanciful. It's a problem now. It is, and it's not just in perception, it is reality. Members of Congress are trading daily based on information that the public doesn't have. And now we've heard the insider trading. I understand that insider trading is banned, but let's be honest. Members of Congress get information that is technically not insider information as defined by the securities laws that is nevertheless extremely beneficial to know, and often we get it earlier than other people do. That's why senators rushed to trade stock at the beginning of the pandemic and were investigated for it. Ultimately couldn't be prosecuted because technically it wasn't a violation of the securities laws. Was it a good idea? No. Should it be happening? I submit that it should not be. So again, I just want to say to anybody who would like to support this bill but says I have concerns over technical aspects of the drafting, I hear you loud and clear, and I'm happy to work with you on that.
Answering your question, former President Trump owns 114 million shares of Trump Media and Technology Group Corp., worth $3.776 billion. He would be required to divest that. All right? That would be at a massive disadvantage for him. Not to mention his other investments. Yeah, so you have Senator Johnson has proposed, what makes a lot of sense, which is to say, if you have investments, you don't have to sell them to run for.
So here's the deal. The proposed legislation aims to ban members of Congress from trading stocks. The idea? Simple. Lawmakers shouldn't profit from information that the average American doesn't have access to, but it doesn't stop there. This bill could require lawmakers to divest from stocks they already own, or even family businesses. Now, opponents argue this could be a slippery slope, but supporters like Senator Hawley are shouting, enough is enough. Hawley's point? Congress is already seen as a rich man's club, and this bill is a step toward restoring public trust. Hawley's frustration was clear. Members of Congress shouldn't be trading stocks, period. He slammed arguments that the bill was poorly written, suggesting critics just wanted to dodge accountability. But here's where it gets messy. Mitt Romney and other senators pushed back, saying the bill has significant flaws. Romney argued that forcing divestment could discourage qualified candidates, including presidential hopefuls, from running for office.
Something that's a mistake and would prevent people from running from office, including the person who's the Republican nominee for president.
Senator Marshall, you're recognized for comments, and then Senator Langford, you're next.
So thank you, Mr. Chairman. Certainly I acknowledge the issue you all are describing, but I'm still going to support this bill. I think it's important enough that we get it to the next step, and hopefully the process can improve it. I would be impacted by the current legislation and have to divest myself of companies that we own prior to getting here. I agree with you completely, but I think this is so important. We need to move forward. My only wish is that we would have included spouses the moment it impacts us, because that's where it's being abused, is on spouses making some of these trades. When you have hundreds of thousands of people following a spouse's member of Congress through a Twitter feed, obviously there is a problem. So I'm ready to move forward with it. Appreciate everyone's efforts on this, and yes, it's got to be amended going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Langford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As a person who's sitting to the left of Senator Hawley, we should put our bank accounts side by side and do some comparisons on it. As a former youth pastor, let me just ask a couple of questions on this. Senator Marshall, I think committee is the place to be able to hammer this out rather than between committee and the floor. Committees are designed to be able to have this kind of conversation to be able to figure it out. And my concern is this gives the perception of members of Congress are no longer trading wink, wink, nod, nod, unless it's an ETF, unless it's a mutual fund, unless it's other things. So you can't trade Apple or Microsoft stock, but you could trade QQQ, which has a huge percentage in those, and basically do the same thing. That's allowed in this bill. And so if we're going to try to give the perception that this is blocking members of Congress from owning or trading stocks, but ignore this other part of the market where they're still able to play in the market in that area. I just think it's just not being consistent for us. That if we're going to say we're out of the market, then we're out of the market. If we're not, then let's find a way to manage this. The Stock Act, when we passed that, and I'm one of those that voted for it as well, the Stock Act said it's already illegal to be able to trade stocks with insider information. And to make sure that there's maximum amount of enforcement and transparency, everybody's got to disclose every transaction that you have over $1,000. It's all got to be out there in the public eye, and it's got to be immediate. And there is accountability on that. I would tell you, as a member of the Ethics Committee, we do get contacts from folks saying, there was this trade that happened, I saw it, I tracked it, they were in this committee at this time, they were in this meeting. So some of that dialogue does happen behind the scenes to be able to go through all that. It also, this bill would say that I couldn't own or trade stocks, but my chief of staff who set up the meeting, who actually met with those people first, now they could. The legislative person that sat in the meeting with me, when that inside conversation happened, they could trade on stocks, in fact, on that stock, but I couldn't. So it creates this very interesting, who's actually engaged in actually more inside information than us is our staff. And our staff are all exempted from this bill, saying they have access to all that information, but members of Congress actually.
He also pointed out that the bill doesn't address loopholes like trading through mutual funds or ETFs, which could still allow lawmakers to benefit indirectly. Hawley wasn't having it. He argued these objections were just ways to sidestep the issue, emphasizing that public service shouldn't be about personal financial gain. He also called out the hypocrisy, saying, Congress is already a rich man's club. That's the problem. In his view, the proposed ban is about making the system fairer and rebuilding public confidence in government. While some lawmakers see the proposed stock trading ban as too extreme, others argue it's essential for restoring trust. Josh Hawley's fiery remarks have certainly added fuel to the fire, and it's clear this conversation isn't going away anytime soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.